Have you ever wondered if you can do a counselling placement with children or under 18s during your counselling training? This video will talk about the CPCAB guidelines, and every training provider is slightly different. So at Astranti Connect, this is what we would say to a student that wants to work with children or young people in their counselling placement. Working with children on a placement and in that work experience setting is a completely different kettle of fish to working with adults. So the safety and the protection of the children is absolutely paramount to everybody involved. You'd need to show your training provider that you've had other experience, other supervised placement hours that prove your competency working with adults first. So at Astranti Connect, we'd need to see you've had at least 70 plus hours of working with people that are over 18 to prove that you're able to work with people that are under 18. And we'd need to see that you've had existing training on working with children and young people, because in our level 4, we don't provide specific training on doing that. If you do have this and you do find a placement that involves working with children and young people, there will usually be a provision in the contractual agreement between yourself, your training provider and your placement provider that will say your placement provider will provide you with the training to work with children and young people if that's not something that's already delivered on your level 4. It's also worth remembering that every agency will be slightly different, and they'll have their own rules and regulations for what they require in placement students that want to work with them, with children and young people. So it really is a different situation for everybody that wants to do this, because it can depend entirely on yourself, your placement provider and your training provider. It's really important that if this is something you want to do, you know you cannot do it unless you've got prior experience and prior training on working with under 18s. It's also important to raise this wish with your training provider early on, so when it comes the time to look for placements, you're all aligned and on the same page.